The Game Hut shared some interesting footage from Activision's Transformers the 2007 movie video game, specifically the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 version, and that was also used for Xbox, and I believe it was on Xbox 360 also. This was the console version, not the one that I always rant and rave about, which is the DS version. And the only reason why we bring this up is because they recently got their hands on some beta builds of the original game. And what's interesting about the beta builds were these date back as far as November 2006, when it was the super early stages of the production and creation of the 2007 Michael Bay movie. So there was a lot of early designs, early ideas, and stuff that just were left on the cutting room floor of the game and that were only available in the early builds of the game. And what's interesting, and you especially, Wendell, who worked in game testing in the past, what's interesting about this is they talk about also like the R&D and how, like, you know, oh, here's stuff that would have gotten deleted if this was left in the game for testing. It would have got deleted. Like they talk
exactly.
About
stuff would be inconsistent and you have to like get rid of it basically, or hey, you guys aren't using this anymore. This is not part of the doc, the design doc that got updated. You know, you have to make sure everything is consistent with each other.
The video itself, hold on to your breath here, is a 2-hour video. It's him essentially going through every aspect of this prototype. I watched it from start to finish. I'm crazy. Mostly
you are.
Yes, I am. Mostly because when both the console version and the DS version came out, I played those games religiously, mostly because at the time, what Transformer games did we have back then? It was a very short list.
Yeah.
So this was a big deal to me. And it was this crazy open world game. And it wasn't the greatest game in the world, but it was a Transformer game that didn't like completely suck. So it was worth playing. And the one thing that really stuck out more than anything was that there was the exterior Hoover Dam section, which wasn't in the original game. It was in the DS version of the game. They left it in the DS version, but they obviously left it out of the console version. And a much larger open area for Cybertron, which is also really cool. And I really wish that was kind of left in the game, because that was something that was really lacking in the console version and completely lacking in the handheld version, specifically the DS version. But the one thing that really stuck out, and this is something that was deleted, was there was a character that was put in the game and then left out of the game because there was changes, and that was that of a evil black repaint of Bumblebee. And there was no specific reason why. It was just asked to be left out of the game, but it was designed, the transformation was put in. It was the old Camaro Bumblebee, but done in like a black repaint, and it was going to be a Decepticon. It wasn't going to be like a stealth Bumblebee or something. It was a legitimate evil version of Bumblebee in the old Camaro. And probably maybe some early ideas from the early stages of production. Maybe it was just something that was game exclusive to the storyline. And the reason why I bring up game exclusive to the storyline, anyone who's played this original 2007 movie game, it's going off of obviously early scripts of the movie. And I mean, if you play it today, especially with the Bumblebee movie coming, it's totally retconned and does like this game opens up with Bumblebee arriving on Earth maybe a week or two before meeting Sam. You know? He arrives on Earth, right away scans the first thing he sees, which is the old Camaro, and then not long after that, the Decepticons show up from Mars. So it's like it's
very
like,
different.
It's a very different like narrative that the story's telling. Obviously, all of that would be thrown out the window today, but the narrative that the story told in the original 2007 game was very different. So that being said, an evil black Bumblebee, was it something that was originally planned for the movie? Was it originally something that was just planned for the game, that you'd be fighting an evil Bumblebee at some point, or a corrupted Decepticon Bumblebee? We don't know, because you also play both factions in this game. You play both Autobots and Decepticons, so who knows, maybe at some point you use the Decepticons and you use an evil Bumblebee, or alternatively you use the Autobots and you have to fight an evil Bumblebee. Maybe they didn't have enough assets or space. But it's
usually sometimes they'll double up just as a placeholder, basically, until they put something actually in there.
If you don't want to have to go through the whole 2-hour video, I'm gonna post the link anyways. They start
maybe give some timestamps.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, they start. They
It
start
starts at 12
minutes is when they start. They talk about the character models. Around about 13 minutes, they talk about the Bumblebee one, and then they also talk about how assets work with certain things, like how certain characters, their wheels didn't turn when they were in alt mode, but bigger characters, their wheels did turn, so those were different models altogether, like Optimus Prime stuff. It's an interesting look at the, like, for anyone who, like me, who's played this game backwards and forwards, it's interesting to see the new things that were in this that didn't get put in, that were taken out. If you didn't play this game, it's, you know, maybe you shouldn't waste your time on it unless unless you're truly curious. But if you're someone who's really familiar with this game, I know, like me and Vangelis played this like crazy, but it's something that's interesting to revisit just to see what was left out of it. I know I even played the PSP one, and even that one was vastly different from all the other versions too. So it's an interesting take. Again, if you have the time and you're someone that's played these games in the past, it's worth taking a look, because it's interesting to see what was taken out and what you missed out on. If you didn't play these games, at least check out, like, at the 12-minute mark, some of the character designs and stuff, because again, it's those early designs that they had to work with before the movie was even really rolling, and getting to see that evil black repaint Camaro Bumblebee that we never got, which, in all honesty, to my knowledge, now looking at my toy shelf, the old Camaro Bumblebee never had an evil black repaint, or even a stealth black, or whatever, you know, Night Watch.
Really? I thought the Camaro one did. Well, you mean the first movie, or
yeah,
you mean
the first movie. The new Camaro had plenty of black repaints. You know, Legend Scale, Deluxe, all across the board. The only time the old Camaro got a repaint was when they were doing the Legend Scale Cliff Jumper. They used the old Camaro mold for the Cliff Jumper, and when they did the Deluxe Scale, they used the new one, which was where it's inconsistent. But I guess maybe Cliff Jumper, in story, went through the same evolution. Found an old Camaro, then got the new one. Who knows? But yeah, interesting to look at. Definitely check it out. I'll post the link below, and you could decide if you want to waste 2 hours of your life.